Your little hobby is dead, Dad declared as he signed the deed. My phone buzzed. AI Core patent secured bidding. Starts at 5.2 billion. I smiled. About that. Signature. Beacon. Mahogany table in my father's boardroom felt as cold as the man himself. I sat across from him, watching him adjust his heavy gold Rolex. My older brother Marcus stood by the window, swirling a glass of scotch with a smug grin that made my blood boil. For 28 years, I was the ghost of the Sterling family, the ultimate disappointment. Marcus was the golden boy, the charismatic VP of our family's legacy real estate firm. I was just the quiet coder they had banished to the basement IT department. But today, they weren't just ignoring me. They were officially erasing me. It's for the best, Julian, my father said, his voice dripping with fake manufactured sympathy. You don't fit into the future of this company. What he really meant was that Marcus had bled the company dry with bad investments, and they needed a scapegoat to take a fall. Worse, they were forcing me to sign away my 15% stake in the family trust for absolute pennies on the dollar. When Mom died, she left me that equity because she was the only one who believed in me. My father had spent the last 5 years trying to pry it from my hands. The contract sitting in front of me was a legal guillotine. It stated that upon signing, I forfeited all future claims to Sterling assets, but there was a secondary clause my lawyer had sneakily fought to include. A clause their arrogant corporate lawyers didn't care enough to scrutinize. It stated that the Sterling estate permanently forfeited any and all rights to my independent intellectual property. Just sign it, Jules, Marcus sneered, taking a sip of his drink. Take the buyout and finally get a real job. My father slid his heavy Mont Blanc pen across the polished wood. Your little hobby is dead, Dad declared, tapping the paper impatiently. You've spent 3 years typing gibberish in a dark room while your brother closed actual deals. It's time to grow up. My little hobby was a predictive neural network, an advanced AI architecture designed to optimize global supply chain logistics with zero human latency. They thought I was sitting down there playing video games. I picked up the pen. My hand didn't shake. I signed my name in smooth black ink. My father snatched the document back instantly, eager to finalize the theft. He quickly scribbled his own signature on the bottom line, cementing the severance, the official seal of my exile. Done, my father said, leaning back with a deeply satisfied exhale. You have 30 days to vacate your apartment. Marcus needs it for his new wife. I looked at the freshly signed deed. I was officially cut off and totally legally financially independent. Right on cue, my phone vibrated violently against the table. The screen lit up in the dim room. A direct message from my lead negotiator in Silicon Valley. AI Core patent secured. Bidding war between tech giants has commenced. Starting offer at $5.2 billion. I stared at the glowing screen. $5.2 billion with a B. A strange, icy calm washed over me. All those years of being called useless. All the missed family dinners. The relentless quiet disrespect. It all vanished in a single second, replaced by the crushing weight of absolute power. I let out a low, slow chuckle. It echoed loudly in the silent boardroom. Marcus frowned. What's so funny? Did you finally snap? I picked up my phone, flipped it around, and slid it across the mahogany table. It stopped right on top of the freshly signed severance agreement. My father looked down, annoyed. Before his eyes locked onto the illuminated text message, I watched his pupils dilate. I watched the arrogant color drain from his face, leaving him looking like a pale, trembling ghost. Marcus walked over, glancing over our father's shoulder. His scotch glass slipped from his fingers, shattering into pieces onto the hardwood floor. What is this? My father whispered, his voice cracking violently. I stood up, slowly buttoning my cheap suit jacket. I had never felt taller in my entire life. You see, Dad, I said, my voice completely deadpan. My AI architecture just secured its patent, and 3 of the biggest tech companies on Earth are currently fighting over it. My father's eyes darted frantically to the severance papers, the papers he had just proudly signed, the papers that legally, bindingly severed him from any claim to my assets. Wait, my father stammered, reaching out a trembling hand. Julian's son, we didn't mean— We can renegotiate this. I smiled, a cold, empty expression that perfectly matched the man who raised me. About that signature, Dad, I whispered, leaning in close enough for him to hear my heartbeat. It's ironclad. You just traded a $5 billion empire for 50 grand. I turned my back on them and walked toward the heavy oak doors. Julian, get back here! Marcus screamed, his voice thick with sheer panic. I didn't stop. I didn't even look back. The heavy doors clicked shut behind me, sealing them in the tomb of their own making. I walked out into the bright afternoon sun, a newly minted billionaire, and for the first time in my life, an only child.